in secret, baby.
Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god, yes!
Look up a run! Make sure they can't even follow up afterward.
And Wash down 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire.
Those who find the picks will save the fight, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
100 gets 3, wins the Primal Rage.
Experience tranquility.
Good evening, League of Legends fans. I'm Mr. Yeti. Welcome everybody to our League of Legends tournament here in Tranquility. I, again, Mr. Yeti, am joined tonight by Panda79. How you doing tonight, Panda?
Great. How about yourself, Yeti?
You know, I'm fantastic. We got a really, really exciting match kicking it off here tonight. Not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the tournament itself. Really quick, we have your team, which was actually the team who won the tournament last season, taking on Team Gap. So two teams with a great start to this tournament yesterday. So we expect big things today.
Yep, we totally do. Each roster has really good players, in my opinion. Definitely gonna be a heck of a game tonight, so can't wait to see the rest of it.
It should be a lot of fun. Both these teams are undefeated so far at 2-0 right now. We are playing again League of Legends Tournament Draft. It is again the draft mode here as the lobby is getting set up. We do have a draft getting ready and getting established here fairly quickly, so I would expect to see that here very soon on our stream. But again, it is League of Legends tonight, bringing about a different look for what we usually bring in our Overwatch tournament, but this is one of our side events put on by our events committee. So thank you very much, Gios, Chimanzi, and the entire team for putting this together. In addition to that, just as a reminder for folks, we have our Valorant tournament signups are open now. We have our Valorant tournament kicking off shortly after this League of Legends tournament. So if you are interested in getting into the Valorant event that we are running here in Tranquility, you're going to want to check that out. It's posted in announcements by Gios a little earlier today. So you're definitely going to want to get into that. But it does look like we are about to get in to this draft, and it looks like we have our first ban, and it looks like Viego is the first ban here and by your team, and Team Gap answers right away with Camille. So a couple of strong top laners out of the picture early.
Yeah, definitely. Viego is really strong if he gets a kill in a special team fight, in especially a lot of team fights, with his ultimate taking their form. Another ban, 3 bans already on.
Wow, quick bans actually. We ended up getting Lilia and Kha'Zix banned by your team, and Team Gap banning both Kayn and it looks like also Draven out of the picture as well for Team Gap. So quick bans overall there from both teams, and it looks like Malzahar is the first pick. That is Dabmaster's favorite mid lane hero, so not a surprise to see your team go and secure that Malzahar right away.
Malzahar is very scary, and Team Gap chooses Graves, yeah, I think it is Graves.
It is Graves, yes. An interesting choice. Graves is not a hero that we've seen much, not one of the legends we've seen or champions we've seen much come from your team Team Gap so far in these in this event. So curious what they're planning on doing. Graves has predominantly been played in the jungle, so wouldn't be surprised to see that. And a Jinx here as well from Team Gap.
Jinx is scary if she gets a lot of kills in the early game, because she just keeps on building up and then just rolls through the team. Jinx is a very annoying ADC, so fun to see how your team goes up against each other.
That was the favored hero, by the way, of Push and Roam, the ADC for Team Gap. So they do pick up one of their stronger heroes. We see your team countering with Sejuani and also Samira. So we get a Samira in play here, more than likely filling that bot lane role. Sejuani, though, however, that's Rakusi's their jungle player. That is their favorite jungle hero as well. So I'm not necessarily surprised to see that champ being put into play here by your team.
Yeah, definitely. And Team Gap instantly goes for another pick instantly, and that's Renata, right?
Yeah, Renata Glask. That's actually interesting because your team listed Renata as a favorite for their support player. So we're kind of seeing a different look here with the Renata coming out from Team Gap. You got to figure that's more than likely going to be played by Try, their support here. And here comes the bans. We got additional bans coming through. It looks like first ban there. Is that Xin Zhao I'm seeing there as well?
I think that's an action.
Oh, that's action. My mistake.
Yeah.
And Aatrox as well out from Team Gap. That does take Aatrox away from Seiyun, who is your team top laner. So that is not necessarily a surprise. And then last but not least, we see, I'm sorry, Diana was the ban we said earlier. We said Camille, but Camille just got the ban as well as Rel. Thank you. So couple bans out there. That's a couple of favored champions for Spaghetti, who is the support for your team. So again, we kind of see some counter picking going on here for sure. It couple picks now. Your team taking Irelia, while Team Gap picking up a Kali here for Team Gap. So interesting compositions coming in, as Nautilus is going to round out your team, more than likely playing in that support role here. Nautilus, very strong, very good engagement support, pairs well with Samira.
Definitely. And the last pick from Gap is Jax, which is definitely probably gonna go top. Yeah.
You gotta figure it. Both teams looking very interesting here. Is there any particular team you'd give an edge to based on composition alone, or just taking a look here, kind of evenly matched?
I feel like Team Gap has probably the stronger early game than your team over here, but your team probably is the stronger late game.
All right, so we'll be definitely looking to see if your team can outlast the early onslaught here of Team Gap. We got to get the tournament draft going in the game here, so we're going to take a quick break as everything loads in. So stay tuned, guys. The match between your team and Team Gap coming up here in just about 3 or 4 minutes. Welcome back, everybody, again to this League of Legends matchup here in Tranquility Gaming between your team and Team Gap. We have your team in the blue, Team Gap rolling out in the red, getting the ball rolling here. Both these teams, we saw the draft just a few minutes ago, should be a good one here as we look like both teams kind of staging early in this jungle to get the early start.
Yeah. Always having a leash from the bot laners is always very helpful because it just doesn't let your jungler take too much damage and maybe die to any creatures in the jungle.
Being a
Or
longtime League of Legends player, I can tell you how bad and shaming that start is when it says that a
execute.
minion has killed you.
Definitely.
Been through that quite a few times, but it does look like both teams are going to play it safe. No early invasions here as we see the blue buff leash coming out for Team Gap, and it looks like your team is going to start off on the red buff here. Sejuani coming in a bit late, but nonetheless coming in, looking to go to the red buff here. So different approach here from both teams, but fairly common to start off on the bottom side jungle where there's a little less risk of you being isolated out by a top laner.
Definitely. It also helps to have a 2 people leash on the blue buff, especially in these games.
All right. The early game, very important to watch. A lot of people who may be watching this may not necessarily be immediately familiar with the basics of League of Legends. So in these games, Panda, what is kind of the typical early start is oftentimes going to be pretty passive between the two teams.
Yeah, definitely, because you don't want to take too much damage and die in early game, which, if you die in early game, it can definitely feed, kind of like feeding, and you get your ultimate in Overwatch, like most people know, in Tranquility. If you feed and you get level 6 before them, you can just easily carry a game through the entire time.
See that hook early from on the bottom lane there from Spaghetti on a try. They got level 2, so they immediately pushed on that, but they weren't able to do much more than just pester. As you see, jungle still being cleared out here by Rembrandt on the Graves. They are looking for their first gank opportunity here, going to top lane. We see the stun in for Perma weak side on Seiyun. Seiyun diving back in on the Aurelia here as Rembrandt gets in. Another push in. Rembrandt going in, is going to take a tower hit. But otherwise just barely damaging that Aurelia, and Aurelia is going to stick around there. So not necessarily the gank they were looking for early on.
Yeah, definitely. Level 2 ganks, which for most people, if they don't know what a gank is, it's when the jungler comes up from the river and tries to help the laner kill the other laner. Yeah, level 2 ganks, though, are very risky because you don't have all the abilities and the extra health that you have. So, level 2 ganks are very scary.
And here we go. It looks like early on, Rembrandt is getting caught out, looking for that that vision in the river. Rembrandt very low, being chased down here by Rakusi. Perma weak side coming in with a stun to try to help out. Is going to leap out onto Rembrandt, but that is going to slow down Rembrandt out of the jungle here. Near takedown and first blood for your team there. That's going to get really confusing, by the way, your team Gap, but just anyways.
Yeah.
So early on, and again, this is something that a lot of people, because in Overwatch, losing a fight isn't really that big of a deal, but in League of Legends, if you start going down early, getting out of that hole can be really challenging.
Definitely. Kills sometimes are better than minion kills. Definitely. Especially early game, because minions still give the amount of gold that you need, but kills get you that extra 300 gold.
Right, and again, for people who are new, we see Rakusi here going for another gank here onto Perma weak side, who is going to get out, give them a little encouragement on their effort there onto the top lane. But we see a lot of action right now on top lane. Rembrandt tried for the gank in mid, but not really finding anything right now. Again, it's just kind of an early farm fest right now. And farming, again, a big part of League of Legends. It's worth talking about because a lot of people may not necessarily be familiar with that. You're watching kind of closely closely here. They're not really just sitting there pushing their lanes forward. They're just slowly waiting and trying to get those last hits.
Yeah, last hitting is a lot better than just attacking them, because if you do just auto attack them, you might miss the minion kill. And you also don't want to use too many abilities, because if you have a mana based champion, you just lose a lot of mana.
Exactly, and that's such a critical resource. It does not really regen very quickly as well, so you're going to see a lot of people maybe going back early. Taking a look at the farm game, which is so important here early on, we're not really seeing any massive disparities outside of the jungle. Nautilus really hasn't gotten a whole lot going, Spaghetti, on the farming end, so they're a little bit behind on that, but it is worth pointing out here, Graves is quite a bit ahead. But that said, if you look as well, here we go, another gank on a top lane. Perma weak side is getting absolutely targeted right now by Rakusi, and again, letting them know his feelings on these attempted ganks that seem to be plaguing top lane. As it looks like we are going to get our first backs of the of this matchup here, as both Akali and Jinx heading back for Team Gap to get some early items here and try to even the score a little bit.
Yeah. I think that CS for the junglers and backing early for the junglers especially are not the best moves. For bot lane, I feel like it would be better, and Jax is just getting attacked right now by this Aurelia.
And Aurelia has the ultimate here in play, as Reinbrandt now is there looking to get in. It looks like it looks like he might be trying to bait in Aurelia there to try to get a gank onto them, but it does look like the Aurelia is not going to take the bait there, as discretion is the better part of Seiyun's valor there. Nonetheless, continuing to watch the mid battle as well. Has been quiet with the Akali and the Malzahar, with really not a whole lot going on other than early farm, which is currently in the favor of Malzahar, but only slightly. It is a very close farm fest in the mid lane, while in the bot lane, a pretty large discrepancy is developing right now. Bernie has built up about a 500 gold lead over the Jinx. Now, that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but that can kind of start to spiral out of control.
Yes. If you get your first item first over the other laner, you pretty much can win the lane and kill them a lot easier. And they do get this dragon, and that is very big, especially if you get the first dragon.
Early uncontested dragon. Dragon is a group gold gain for all involved. Plus, you also get some sort of buff with that dragon as well, depending on what type of dragon it is. So nice early pickup for the your team, who has a slight lead in the CS in the farming game right now. But it is still close. It by no means is it a situation where your team is in a situation to steamroll this, but they do definitely have an early advantage.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams have still not killed a single person, which is pretty surprising, especially being almost 9 minutes in here, which is crazy.
Absolutely. 9 minutes in, a little surprised. We've seen some close calls, but nobody has taken an initiative here. We do see level 6 now. Spaghetti looking for that depth charge, perhaps can really mess up that bot lane and take an early advantage. Reinbrandt is coming down to lend some support, as the rest of his team does not have their ultimate. So Reinbrandt trying to get down there and maybe help fend off a potential engagement here. And again, not really anything else going on. A slight lead again still in the farm for your team, with that dragon kind of being the early difference here. But again, it's just very passive so far from both, especially from your team, or from Team Gap, which might be a bit of a surprise, because Team Gap has really a team built for the early game.
Yeah, especially for Team Gap. Especially for Team Gap to not really take the initiative. I'm not surprised for the Akali versus Malzahar, how they're not really fighting each other, because the Malzahar's passive, it's just a free kind of Edge of Night, which Edge of Night just makes it so the first ability that does CC on you just doesn't work. So the Kali E. Oh, the Kali is going in. Kali E and Q, just get rid of it. Which is crazy.
We do see a slight lead right now, at least in level, for Lotus on the Akali, but Malzahar is slightly ahead here. Dabmaster slightly ahead on the CS, which doesn't necessarily surprise Malzahar. Very strong on the farm game, but here we go right now with, again, just a very passive start for both of these teams. From a weak side now with a little bit of a lane push here, trying to push out, but not a whole lot of vision. I'm noticing that one thing I will say, there's really not a whole lot of vision yet on the board. It looks like the only thing really going on is the wards in the bot lane. Nobody else is placing wards.
There has been a lot of wards. It's just Graves, aka the
Ryan
jungler for just keeps on destroying is it Team Gaps, or is he on Team Gap?
He's on team.
Yeah. So he keeps on destroying your team's wards a lot, if I'm completely honest. Every time I see him, he's destroying a ward.
Well, that can be very effective. Get wards out of play here for sure. Bot lane did get pushed back there, as we see another back, by the way, for Try and Push and Roam on that bot lane. So again, they are playing conservative, trying to build up some items, as we do see the a couple of items starting to build their way up for these players. Nobody's gotten any larger item quite yet, but we're just kind of seeing the early start here, as Perma Weakside going to go in with the stun, gets the stun onto Seiyun there. They're not going to engage any further, though. They see the Graves coming in, but we do see a real engagement now as Try gets caught out on the Renata. Going to flash over the wall, but we see a flash in return here, and that's first blood picked up there by Rikusi on the Sejuani. So Sejuani taking the early kill, but that is a three-player, sorry, that only got an assist for, see the dive in, they send in, they're going hard on this, and Push and Roam is all alone, but Lotus is in range. They find Rikusi out here, who's going to go in and engage on the push. Here comes Lotus coming in. Rikusi is in, this is not a good spot for Rikusi right now.
No, it is not.
And Lotus didn't even get the assist there. That's unfortunate.
Definitely. That first blood, though, was really well played, especially from Rikusi singling out the Renata. Just getting a bunch of gold from that kill, and the Rift Herald just smashing into the tower. Just got a ton of gold.
It's Sejuani now with the first blood and that early kill. Definitely kind of winning that jungle race so far against Reinbrand on the Graves. Looks like Aurelia is going to head back in the top lane potentially there. Yep, they are going to head back. No bait onto that, onto Perma Weakside, who is going to enjoy themselves some nice fine last hits there. Get a little bit of extra gold before they most likely start to head back towards the shop themselves. Reinbrand covering mid up here with Dabmaster lurking there with a really just starting to kind of, I mean, Dabmaster probably going to be heading back soon, you have to figure, because they're going to start getting spicy real quick.
Definitely. After, I think Akali is almost going to have her first item.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Dabmaster actually picked up Liandry's already. I misread that. So Dabmaster has the Liandry's. So we are seeing items start to take shape here. So it's an early lead for the Malzahar for sure in this race. But again, 1-1 on the kills. Definitely far from over, but a strong early start here for your team.
Did we miss a dragon? Oh, yeah, we did miss a dragon.
Oh. That was Team Gap. Team Gap picked up that one.
Team Gap did pick up that one. That is, I think that is Cloud Soul, but I don't remember which that one does.
It was Chemsoul. We got Chemsoul there in play, which isn't that the Omnivamp? I believe that is, but I don't remember off the top of my head. So either way, it doesn't matter. Dragon pickup there for Team Gap. Definitely needed there. Perma Weakside is being engaged on, as well as on bot lane. Push and Roam gets caught out by Bernie there. Bernie is popping the ultimate as well, trying to get on to Push and Roam here, who's going to be shielded up there and stay alive. They will drop as well, but here goes Spaghetti. Spaghetti very low, popping their abilities to try to get away. Reinbrand's going to get stunned, and it looks like they are just barely going to get away. Seiyun going in deep. They're popping the ultimate as well onto Perma weak side, who is trying to get out there, going to try to get a stun onto Seiyun, but Seiyun will get this kill. The Ignite used there, I'm sorry, that wasn't an Ignite, pardon me. But Perma weak side there is going to get that, is going to take a death there, and that is a nice counter there to what could have been a really disastrous bot lane situation for your team.
Definitely, that could have been terrible. But with Jinx coming out with both the kills, that's definitely going to be scary. Because if Jinx gets a lot of the kills at bot lane, that's going to scale up really fast. I think everyone has their first item now except Nautilus and... Wait, it looks like your team just has a lot of big items now.
Gotcha. And we see the Reinbrand now sitting on the Rift Herald, so that is a nice pickup here. Rift Herald would be pretty big, but here comes the reinforcements for your team as Rikusi getting up there, ready to potentially take an engagement here, but not a whole lot of support. It looks like the only support is going to come from Jax here for Team Gap. So Team Gap did have a little bit of a hero advantage, but they're not going to push that Rift Herald anymore, and everybody's kind of fleeing back to their corners here and not going to push that anymore.
Yeah, definitely a smart play, especially if you don't really want to die right now, which is 15 minutes in. No one really wants to die, which is
can't really
smart move.
Can't really afford it if you're Team Gap. You don't want to take any more significant deaths here. It could start getting out of control. And we get back here now. Perma weak side getting into it with Seiyun here. Seiyun with a level advantage, definitely advantage over Perma weak side, who is taken very low. Gonna try to get out there, gets out with just a sliver of HP. They're gonna try to be chased down here, it looks like, by the Sejuani. Rikusi trying to go in and find that kill, but they're not going to. He's going to, is Perma weak side going to be able to get out with their life here? Very important, but that is a nice lane win for Seiyun, as they will take that first tower. Right now, following on bottom lane, we go in here, look briefly. Oh, we actually see, it looks like a setup for Dragon now, as Team Gap trying to counter back that top lane pick there. They're going to have Dragon advantage here with nice warding, setting this up. So this should be actually a fairly simple Dragon, you have to figure. But Rift Herald will go the way of your team here, so they will get a nice push. So trading Rift Herald for Dragon, Dragon in the favor of your team, or I'm sorry, Team Gap. Here comes the Rift Herald, going to push out mid onto the Akali here. So that goes down mid tower real quick. They're going to get a strong push, but here comes the rest of the reinforcements for Team Gap. They're going to push right in, trying to get Dabmaster caught here. Dabmaster is a bit out of position, but they will manage to get out with their life. Close situation there. Almost got our first true team engagement of the match, but it does look like Team Gap, sorry, not Team Gap, sorry, your team is going to definitely have an early advantage here with 2 towers down.
Yeah, 2 towers down in this, in an 18-19 minute game, that's ginormous, especially how much gold the entire team gets from it.
Here we Rikusi.
Who do you have in team fights though? Who do you think will win in an entire team fight? 5-on-5?
Right now, I think your team just has the advantage just based on items alone. But if they can, I mean, I will say that, I will say that Push and Roam does have a lot of items. So if they can get their ADC to get going, I would not be surprised if they can necessarily counter that. But I definitely think the early advantage sits in the favor of your team, as they will continue to push out that mid lane. And we see Team Gap kind of, again, collecting themselves, trying to get back together here, as they're definitely starting to fall behind a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. They need to take one of the towers and just get the bounty from it. I feel like the easiest tower that they could possibly get would be either top or bottom. Mid is just really scary right now because everyone is right there.
We see the bot lane kind of heading back out. We see Team Gap kind of recollecting and trying to maybe get into a situation where they can engage as 5. But Rembrandt still working out of the jungle here, looking to kind of, again, continue to press a little bit of a positional advantage that they might have. We see Dab Master being forced out. We see Akali Lotus going in very deep there, but is going to flee out, and we're going to see both teams kind of head back. Seiyun pushing on bot lane with this split push. They're going to get that tower very low. No armor plates left in the match, by the way, and that is a bit of a scary bottom lane push right now, and I wouldn't be necessarily surprised if we saw Team Gap maybe try to close in on this Aurelia and slow them down.
Yeah, that would definitely be a smart play here, especially with 3 of them about to be right next to her. I feel like they can 2v3, especially with the Nautilus being right next to her. But since Rembrandt is recalling, I don't think that this Jack should be pushed up this far.
We see a strong invade here right now by Rakusi on the Sejuani, getting in to the deep into the red side jungle, but they have that luxury of being able to do it. I'm a little surprised, however, to see them go that deep with how far some of the lanes are pushed out. Nonetheless, another turret down here as Perma Weakside's going to be taken very low, going to be trying to jump out, but unable to do so. And Seiyun again holding the advantage over Perma Weakside on the top lane. Try gets caught out as well. Rakusi taking them down. And we're starting to see things get a little bit out of hand here for your team. With Team Gap Team Gap with your team getting very much in control of this situation. Now up 6-2.
This is a very ginormous lead, especially for this Aurelia. Aurelia is definitely one of the scarier champs late game, especially if she's fed. Right now, she's 2-0. Dab is not looking the very best next to this red tower right now.
No, that is
right next to him.
That is unfortunate. And Push and Roam comes in with the Push and Roam, hits it with the super mega death rocket to swipe that kill away. So that is actually big to get that ADC. That it's worth noting. Push and Roam has 3 kills right now. They have all the kills for Team Gap. And again, we talked about how important it could be to get that ADC going, and that could be the key right now for Team Gap to get back into this match.
Definitely. I think Push and Roam is close to their second item right now, with most people only on their first item, working on their second, other than Rakusi on their 2 items, same as Dab on 2 items.
Yeah, the gold advantage is definitely still in the favor of your team, but Team Gap is with a nice kill there. They have an opportunity to come back into it with Push and Roam on that Jinx. So that is something to kind of watch and see what develops. They're looking for the dragon here. Looks like Chemtech dragon again, as that is a 4-person take, and it looks like it's just going to be an easy one for your team, as Team Gap's just going to go ahead and take. They're going for Baron here. This is an aggressive Baron play.
Especially at 23 minutes, I was not expecting this right now.
And it looks like Team Gap are going to close it. We're going to see a full 5v5 here, potentially, on the Baron. As they dive in here, ultimates aplenty will come out. Baron is very low. We might see a Baron steal come in. It does look like Team Gap is going to get the Baron, but the kills are starting to go purely in the favor of, oh my goodness, that's a 4 kills there from your team. And nothing for Team Gap. And you know, the Baron was nice, but they paid the price for it.
Especially since only Rembrandt now has the effect from Baron right now. Everyone else lost it from dying.
And Rembrandt is going to be all alone here, trying to dish out some damage here to keep them honest. And it actually is going to work. They do have a lot of damage potential here. Spaghetti is very low, but no ultimate up for Rembrandt on the grave, so they're not going to be able to finish that off. But that being said, you know, for your team, it's going about as well as you could ask for right now.
Yeah, definitely. Especially being up 7 kills. But even on the dragons, that is, I think, up those 7 kills. About a 10,000 gold difference between both teams. And that's just... I wouldn't say this game is over, but it's looking more in favor of your team.
Your team definitely in control of the situation here. Now, anything can still happen. You know, if you're sitting there on Team Gap, you can't completely rule out the possibility of a comeback, but it is certainly starting to turn a bit negative for your team here. I'm sorry, for Team Gap, not for your team. Your team doing great. Team Gap, bit of a struggle bus right now, but we'll get back on it here. If your Team Gap not giving up by any means, Push and Roam going to be somebody to watch for certain. You have to figure here with that that 3-2, they're the only one with any kills on the side of Team Gap. So you got to figure that's the one to watch. Is there any chance, producer Laggy, if we could have a look at the gold disparity between individuals? I'm actually kind of curious where that's at. Oh, they're wonderful. Thank you, Laggy. Awesome producer, by the way. What a great guy. It's a gold disparity across the board. There's not a single player on Team Gap who has their opponent outmatched right now.
I wouldn't say that. The top laners, which is Perma Weakside and Seiyun, I feel like that's a very big gap in total gold. With I think that's 4,000 gold difference.
That's the biggest one. It's the biggest one. The champs aren't quite aligned correctly. We're sorry about that, folks, but taking a look, you know, there is a decent disparity as well, even between Dabmaster in the mid lane and Akali. That's Lotus on that as well. They're both 2,000 gold apart, so we're seeing decent disparities, especially between top and mid. But bottom lane was relatively close. But again, that's big matchup to watch there. We kind of expected that right now. But teams are kind of settling into their corners a little bit here, as you would expect right now. If you're Team Gap, you just want to farm for a bit, try to close that gold gap a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm completely honest, Rembrandt is keeping and having a 50 CS lead on Rakusi in this jungle, which is a giant lead in my opinion, especially with the different CSs for everyone. I feel like Rakusi would have the better CS.
I would agree with that for sure. Taking a look at, again, lots of pings going out in that jungle as Rakusi got deep into the red jungle there, but not a whole lot of other action happening. Both teams just kind of staging at this point here. But again, the advantage is very much in your team's favor. Perma Weakside trying to push Dabmaster out of here on top lane, and that is a strong, aggressive push, but they have vision in the bottom, so they know it's 4 bottom. So Perma Weakside is pushing with really no resistance right now. And here comes Rembrandt looking for any wards out there, not finding any, but they're going to get aggressive here onto Dabmaster, who is very low. We see the suppression come in, but that is not going to be enough. And Dabmaster caught out there with Perma Weakside picking up that kill. That's Perma Weakside closing the gap a little bit there on Dabmaster, on Seiyun. So nice pickup, nice kill there, and a good response and a good start to the crawl back.
Definitely a really good start to come back here.
Oh, and go figure. As soon as I say that, we get a dragon take here from your team, but we see a tower go down as well. So, you know, it's a bit of a give and take, and really the net gain here, I would argue, slightly in the favor of Team Gap, but only slightly, as that dragon was a big dragon.
Definitely with that chem tech, which with I think you said Omnivamp. If that stacks up, that can definitely hurt for a few champs of theirs. And it looks like they're trying to go for another Baron. Is it a Baron?
It's a Baron right now, and I'm a little surprised necessarily, but they get that they get that river vision set up there, so it's a nice secure of that vision there to set up for Baron, which is coming up very soon. We should see Baron here in about 10 seconds. So with Baron at the ready, that is going to potentially be our next source of a fight here. That being said, immediately Rikusi is right next to Baron. Are they going to engage on it? It looks like they're kind of maybe feigning the Baron, and there's no mystery here. Your team knows they're going for this Baron, and they know it started. They have wards over the wall, so they are watching this carefully. You got to figure a Baron Seal is in order here. Reinbrandt waiting to go in. Perma weak side as well. Blue team, that is your team, gets the Baron, and we see immediately jumping out, but here comes jumping over the wall. Bernie going aggressive, taken very low, is going to be taken down by Push and Roam, who's peeking over the wall, picking up Spaghetti as well. Spaghetti very low, picked off there by Push and Roam with the double kill. A great response to that Baron take.
That was an amazing play by them. Just falling back into the bush where they don't really have
be
sight.
careful here, though. Ooh, they're getting caught out by this Adwani.
No.
Here goes Red trying to get out. It's going to get stunned there, but no follow-up. So that was close, but a great fight there from Team Gap.
The crazy thing is I thought if they went fully in, they would have lost that, because Lotus was split pushing bottom and got bottom tower first. And they definitely caught up in gold-wise. Oh, definitely. About 5,000 gold difference now, which is definitely a big difference between 10,000.
Absolutely. They closed the gap up a little bit there. So really, honestly, you know, they were down 10-3 in kills. It's 10-6 now. They're starting to close that gap just a little bit in the gold race here. And quite frankly, their Jinx might be arguably the most dangerous thing on the field right now.
Definitely with 3 items, boots still. I think if they kill the Aurelia, they can definitely come back.
Yeah,
a lot harder.
It's a lot harder with Seiyun on that Aurelia, but a nice potential start here for your team, or for the Team Gap comeback here. But your team still in control, going to go push the mid lane here with some Baron buffs in tow, helping them out. Now moving over to bot lane here, potentially. They were looking for something there. They did not put something out, though. Looking at timers, we're about a minute away from Baron, so we're going to start to see teams start to stage out some vision for Dragon, not Baron, pardon me. So we see teams kind of staging out the vision for that. But nonetheless, again, Team Gap is in control, and they're kind of keeping up this nice push. But your team doing a good job here of not getting caught with their pants down at all.
Yeah, definitely. That kind of made me laugh a little. I think as your team gets this last dragon, there will be no more dragons, and it will go to Elder Dragon, right?
Exactly. Yep. Someone will get soul on once they hit to the next dragon here. So, oh, and we do have a pause actually. It looks like here. Not 100% sure what happened, but a pause in play. As we'll wait for that to get resolved here. All right. And again, Team Gap right now is in control of the situation here. Again, looking at the I'm sorry, not Team Gap, pardon me. Your team is in control, pardon me, by about 6,000 gold, and they have 5 towers to 3 over your team, or over Team Gap. There is way too many your Team Gap, so what the heck? Come on, guys. 3 dragons to 2. They both picked up a Baron, but both arguably weren't that beneficial to either team as of yet, so we didn't really see the Barons really do a lot of good for either of these teams. But that being said, again, we have a pause in play as these teams are starting off. If you are Team Gap, you know, you started this off by getting gapped, but we're starting to see that kind of clawback. What is crucial for them going forward here? What do they have to do in order to kind of get back into this matchup?
I think the thing that they really need to do is probably just get the takedown on the Aurelia. That's a 700 gold bounty.
Oof.
And with that 700 gold, you could definitely, especially if the Jinx gets it, I think that would be 4th item, maybe even the way onto 5th. Which is definitely scary because of how much damage Jinx can do in such little time. But another thing that they could probably do is just stop your team from getting this last dragon.
Absolutely. I think we're going to go to a quick break because we do have somebody struggling to reconnect right now. So we're going to take a quick, maybe 30-second, minute-long break here to allow them to come back, and we'll see if your team can finish it off or Team Gap comes back and manages to pull off the comeback. We are back, and unfortunately, it does look like they've been having a bit of a connection issue, and Dabmaster for your team is still disconnected and currently sitting in the middle of the map, which is very unfortunate. I believe they're still disconnected here, as our feed has unfortunately there's a brief pause in the feed. There we go. We see your team kind of gathered around Dabmaster there, as Dabmaster is just sitting in the bush, and that is unfortunate to see, but it could be a 4v5 moving forward here for your team. The Team Gap now with a big opportunity, taking advantage of the technical problem here, as a fight is coming in for the Dragon, and a big one it is here with Elder Dragon with Dragon Soul on the line here. And here we go, your team pushing in again, 4v5. Only 4v5 here. They're going to get in there. We see a push in, and they will get the Dragon. Your team picked this one up. And again, it's a 4v4, actually, as Perma Weakside is out of this fight. We see Lotus coming in late here on the Akali, finding Spaghetti out. And Dabmaster is back, but then just dies immediately, which is unfortunate there for your team. And Team Gap has closed the gap significantly here, despite losing that Dragon. A big Dragon it was for your team. But Team Gap has now closed that gap and is starting to really catch up here, as they got a turret during that fight too.
Did get a turret during that fight. I didn't even notice that. That was really big, just playing off of Dab's disconnect, which is petty, but still works.
Got to get the job done where you get it, man. You got to take advantage of the moments you get in tournaments. Rikusi does push out, eats a stun there from Perma Weakside, is going to get forced back, and another turret down, this time on bottom there for Team Gap, who again is catching up in this slowly but surely.
Yeah, definitely, especially with getting, even though that they lost the Dragon, like, they still got a bunch of kills, which, since the Jinx, push and roam, just getting that bounty now, so they do have a little target on their head right now.
No doubt about it, that bounty is huge right now. Again, though, for Team Gap, looking at that 700 gold bounty sitting on the head of Seiyun on the Irelia. So that is a big target for them. We see a group heading back in top lane, as Team Gap gonna head back and spend some of that gold they have and get some more items. As again, that gold disparity was almost 10k, now down to just over or just about 3k. So a huge move there in the gold game.
Yeah, definitely, especially with Jinx getting most of the CS during the bot lane. This Jinx is just gonna tear through the Nautilus and the Sedge, especially with all the crit and Lord Doms. Lord Doms does a lot more damage to people with high health than
we see a big team engagement coming in now. Reinbrand taken very low, but the kill goes out onto Spaghetti here. Nautilus out of the equation. Reinbrand also very low. Bernie popping off right now on the Samira. That's 2 kills for Bernie. The fight's still far from over here. Lotus trying to get back into it, but it is going to be a fight that goes with the ace for your team, and a triple kill there for Seiyun on that Irelia. And again, that is the absolute difference maker in this matchup.
Definitely, that Irelia is now 5-0-6 with, I think the best part about that fight was the Renato just taking down 2 of them. That had me out of my seat a little.
No question about that. We continue the matchup here with your team now back in control. Big team fight win. They're going to have an opportunity to go catch Baron here as well with the respawns coming up. And this could be the absolute winner now with the inhibitor down. A Baron for them could spell the absolute end of this for Team Gap.
Yeah, definitely. If your team gets this Baron, if they don't even get it, it's fine, because Elder Dragon will be up in about 2 minutes. It looks like Team Gap is gonna try stealing this, but they have no bomb pods anywhere to get in, so...
Yeah, Team Gap's gonna struggle.
Is going to do this.
And
Oh,
they do
almost
not...
got it.
Almost. Good effort there from Rainbrand, but that is a big, or relatively uncontested Baron. They're going to be pushing in with the gold gap, with the team ahead right now on gear, and you also got to really feel good if you're your team, because now you have that Baron buff, buffing you up, bringing you in. This is going to be a tough fight here for Team Gap to try to answer, and this could be the game right in front of us right now.
We have a split push top with Aurelia, probably the scariest player on their team right now. Especially with Baron. Just
I'm a little
shred through all 5.
I'm a little surprised they aren't engaging while the Aurelia is out of here, but oh, the big ultimate catches Reinbrand, and that is taken down. What a huge suppression there from the Malzahar. Dabmaster coming up big after the disconnect. And here comes the engagement in. Bernie going in with the ultimate out. Perma weak side going in to try to stun them out. Right now the stabilization game is on here for Team Gap, but it looks pretty rough for them as your team is starting to push down the Nexus turrets. The dive is back in as Team Gap going to try to get back into this here. Lotus going in deep onto Rakusi, not able to get that kill. Perma weak side is taken down and the Nexus turrets are down. Bernie with the ultimate, and that is just an absolute gap by your team with Team Gap going down, and that is a big win. Your team moving the record to 3-0 in this tournament so far.
That is amazing. Though Renato almost saved it, but just not quite enough. I told you, man. Team Gap had a really good early game. They probably should have taken it a lot faster early game than slower. But your team just had such a better late game.
You gotta say, who stood out to you? I mean, I think we talked about it enough. Am I correct in saying that your most valuable player in this matchup here was Seiyun on the Aurelia?
Yes, definitely Seiyun.
All right. Taking a look here, Bernie also did go 8-4, so it is worth noting here we did see some nice performances here from more than just Seiyun. But that being said, that's now 3-0 for your team. Team Gap goes down to 2-1. We did have one other result already take place. Death Cards beating Chrissy Schoolboys. So Death Cards now up to 2-1 in Group 2, and Chrissy Schoolboys sitting at 0-3 on that side. So Chrissy Schoolboys, not the start they wanted to have. But we will be taking a short break here. Before we get into your next matchup, it's going to be Dog Owners version 2 taking on Firefight in what should be a very good Group 2 matchup. So we will go to a short break here. Stay tuned. More League of Legends coming up shortly. Welcome back, everybody, here to Tranquility Gaming's coverage of our of our League of Legends tournament here in our Overwatch off season. We see the bans coming through already. Firefight taking on Dog Owners here. Dog Owners at 2-0, Firefight at 0-1. Coming in early, we see Firefight with the bans on Nami and Vladimir. Dog Owners banning out Tristana and Gangplank as well. So some perhaps targeted bans there on some favorite champions for these players.
Yeah, definitely. Both very strong characters for both the bands, and that is a Heimerdinger ban.
It is a Heimer. Schmurdaman is a Heimerdinger support player, so that is a very targeted ban at Schmurdaman on Dog Owners.
Yeah. And a Yuumi pick. Wow, I did not expect that one. That's going to be going into the support spot.
That's an interesting one there. So Vile Raven, the support for Firefight, picking up the Yuumi. Again, that's a very much a Schmurdaman favorite there, but Schmurdaman going to counter with the pick of the Seraphine. So supports taken early here in this matchup, with Dog Owners now sitting on their second pick. Again, a lot of selection here, and they go with Ezreal. So maybe a little bit of an interesting surprise there for Dog Owners. They're going with the Ezreal.
Yeah, definitely. The Ezreal pick is very strong, especially with the Seraphine pick. Especially with how the stun works with Seraphine, Ezreal can just send in his abilities and just take down that HP instantly.
Firefight gonna counter pick here with Anivia, more than likely going into the mid lane there. That's gonna be Kraken's choice of heroes, and Jinx coming out from Train here on bot lane for Firefight. So Train with the Jinx, and Kassadin now in play here. Kassadin more than likely gonna be the mid laner of choice for the Dog Owners. That is a solely on the Kassadin here. More than likely, you have to figure. But additional bans coming through. We see now a ban onto looks like Sylas, or not Sylas. No, that's Sylas. Ban onto Zed, and a ban onto Hecarim and Jax coming through here as well. Any surprises there, just based on overall individual strength of these champions?
No, definitely not. Sylas is very annoying, especially with the ultimates that Firefight is having now. So if Sylas gets picked, it's just over sometimes.
You see Kindred taken now here for the Dog Owners. Kindred is a favorite of Pyro out of the jungle, so that's a big pickup there for Kindred. To help out Pyro. Maokai now in for Firefight. That is a Maokai in the jungle, I believe, is kind of a favorite there for Zip on Firefight. So not necessarily a huge shock there, especially with Bel'Veth off the table for Firefight. To go with that Maokai, strong tanking presence too, as they also get Yasuo, who is going to be heading up to that top lane with Magic Otter.
Yeah, definitely. Yasuo is a very strong pick, especially, I think he's the best at mid game, and mid game is where it mostly happens into the end game. So, if I'm pretty sure, I feel like bot will be the scariest one here, especially with the Jinx and the Yuumi. Jinx is just a very scary pick to take, and like we saw last time, even though that Team Gap lost, Jinx was one of their scariest people on their team.
No question about it here. K'Sante, the final pick. K'Sante, the newest champion in League of Legends, is on the table here. Now, we've seen historically in League of Legends when a new champion comes out, they tend to be perhaps a little overbalanced, a little overtuned. How do you feel about K'Sante in the current game state?
K'Sante, in my opinion, is just always just well-rounded. He can easily just get absolutely countered. He can also just get absolutely just fed and just destroy an entire game. He's very good for taking the fight to them and run them away from fights.
Got it, got it. So dog owners versus firefight here. Interesting compositions from both teams. Is there any team you'd look at giving the edge to here early on, just based on composition alone?
Composition alone, I feel like dog owners will probably have the better front line, especially with the Cassante and the Kassadin. But firefight probably has the better backline and like mini tanks, especially with the Niva and Yasuo.
Absolutely. Firefight versus dog owners. Again, Firefight 1-1, dog owners 2-0 in this final match of this week here in group play. So a big one for both teams. We will see who comes out on top. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the match in just a few minutes. trying to establish out. But it does look like we're going to see relatively similar jungle pass. Both junglers going to start at blue buff.
Yeah, starting at blue buff, like I said last game, is probably the smarter decision, or at least bottom side, really, because of how good it is to have just 2 people fighting, or 2 to 3 people fighting the buff.
Looks like I spoke too soon there. Now heading over to red buff is the Maokai here, as Zip is going to get back to the rest of their team on the bot lane. And we do see now a shift over to red buff for the jungler, for Pyro on the top, or on red. So that is a bit of a shift here, and that is going to set up kind of an interesting situation in bottom lane. Sitting in the bush there, we see Seraphine and Ezreal. So they are going to go for a very creative early game gank here, as they're expecting them to be back and pushing here, or leashing. So this is interesting. If Train gets caught out, this could be a disaster. And we do see the early kill come, or the early attack come through from Mini, but they're not able to get the kill. So interesting little situation there, but it didn't turn into any sort of real engagement, as Train is going to be kept alive with a Yuumi attached. Yuumi, a very interesting, very different support in this game, because, well, a lot of people say that Yuumi just doesn't really do anything.
I disagree with that, if I'm completely honest. I've had many games where one carry, say like a set, would just be nothing. Be level 17, not even full ability yet, but just destroy your entire team. As soon as the Yuumi got off him, we killed him instantly.
Of course.
So Yuumi does help, especially with their heal. And if I'm completely honest, I do think that if they took that fight fully and it was just face to face, I feel like Train and Raven would have won that.
Zip goes for a deep invade, and they will absolutely pay the price. Firefight going down here. Dog owners with the early first blood, taking down Zip with a very aggressive engagement. They went and took the blue buff there, and it just didn't pan out.
That is a way faster first blood than last game, if I'm completely honest. Just taking out a lot faster than usual. That is a big kill though, because of how much money the Kindred got off of it. Because I'm pretty sure the Maokai was their target, which Kindred's passive gets stacks off of killing their target, which right now it is the frog in Maokai's blue jungle.
That is a great spot right now for Kindred, picking up that early kill there, but early first blood. So Kindred gonna have a lot of gold early on here. Kraken right now sitting in mid lane on the Anivia, and Magic Otter getting into it with Yarb on the top here. That is our first real look at K'Sante here, with those big giant shield arms clapping away on those minions. First opportunity to see K'Sante in action here on top lane. But it looks like Train, after that early gank, is stabilizing out nicely here. Going to have that bot lane and going to go to work here with Mini facing them here on the other side.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, Jinx is a very scary person to go up against, and I think that they will win this bot lane if they play it correctly and safe. The Yasuo right now had the back really early, but the K'Sante hasn't backed at all.
Has not at all yet. So an early advantage for the dog owners on gold, on kills. Still very early on, but again, we saw that in the last game. Those early advantages can really start to steamroll for your team here in these matchups. And if you're dog owners right now, you just don't want to give it back. As we take a quick look at the gold disparity, again, that Kindred right now has a pretty large gold advantage of almost 25% more than anybody else in the entire game. So very strong right now for the Kindred.
Yeah, definitely. This Kindred will do a lot of damage by the time that it's probably end of the early game, which is probably very scary for the other team.
Definitely, definitely. The Magic Otter right now taking an aggressive approach here against Yarb on this top lane, pushing onto them very aggressively. We see Yarb pushing back, however, Magic Otter taken very low, is going to try to poke back at Yarb here, is going to get dropped, and that is another kill there for the dog owners as Firefight will go down now 2-0 early on in the kills race here. But a nice pickup there in that top lane and continued dominance on that top lane as well, with a 20 CS advantage right now for Yarb over Magic Otter.
They might be able to steal Dragon here, which is pretty crazy. But with the Cassante getting a kill on the Yasuo is not even level 6. That's just a very big one.
Shmurda is caught out here on the Seraphine train, getting aggressive with it. Gonna push onto Shmurda here. They will manage to just barely get out. It looks like a lot of staging going on around this dragon right now. And it does look like currently, just looking at the lane state, and I think the advantage slightly favors the dog owners for a shot at this dragon, but it's pretty close if they try to force it. Speed of forcing it, here goes the attack on a train. Able to get out here with the help of that Yuumi, but again, the push out is going, and they should be setting up for the dragon here fairly quickly.
Yeah, definitely. This Kindred will probably sit and try to kill bottom a lot, because Kindred's new target is now a Jinx, which is very scary for the bot lane.
Right now, taking a look at the board, Anivia, Kraken on the Anivia, no mana, very low, gonna get forced out fairly quick here. Is going to go ahead and go back with Soli pushing that mid lane pretty hard. Pretty close CS race right now in that lane, as Kassadin is gonna build up a slight edge here with this back from Kraken on the Anivia. Magic Otter pushed back to the turret by Yarb here, and Yarb with a 1 level advantage now. So Yarb quite a bit ahead here on the Cassante. Train is trying to continue to claw back in on that bot lane, but the advantage is still sitting in the favor of Mini, especially on CS there. Mini with a 3-2 CS advantage over Train right now. So a great spot for dog owners. They are very firmly in control of this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. Not a single person on dog owners is losing CS in their lane. Oh no, this is not going to be very good.
Kraken's going to be very low. Into the egg they go. We see, no, not a whole lot happening there. The Ezreal all came through at the last minute to pick up an assist there, and that is just, that is a tough spot now. Firefight is struggling to really get their foothold in this game.
Yeah, definitely. This is probably going to be a very hard game to come back for, or not to come back, but to build a little bit, to build up a little bit more. And that's a big dragon killer right there for Red Team.
Yep, absolutely. Dog owners are in control of the match here. Firefight looking to claw their way back into it. Pyro continuing to build that lead with a strong jungle performance so far. But again, that top lane has also been just absolutely dominant right now for Yarb as they continue to push this one out. And it's a pretty dominant state of affairs up there right now, with him very far ahead in both CS and also with that kill in the pocket too. Ping's going out aggressively on the top lane there as they lose sight of the Cassante. But that being said, Magic Otter are going to get pushed back all the way to the turret, as they just absolutely cannot push on a Cassante right now. We see a Rift Herald being taken here by Zip. That is actually more than likely going to be a completely uncontested Rift Herald here, which is actually quite big, and it could enable them to kind of start to claw back into this a little bit, because they're more than likely looking at first turret as a result here too of that Rift Herald take.
Yeah, definitely. First turret will definitely help Fire a lot because of how much gold they'll get. I'm still kind of scared for, I think it's bot lane. Train is the target for Kindred still. It's definitely just going to be scary for them having a little time for it.
Magic Otter trying to get back in this farming race again, down in farm pretty significantly, with pings again being shot out in mid as Seraphine is on the prowl there in the river, trying to help set up a gank perhaps onto the Anivia. There, Shmurda still just in the bush lurking, waiting for an opportunity to catch Kraken off guard here. Seraphine actually going very deep in, trying to maybe set something up, but here comes the Maokai finding them out, but the rest of the team will be there to support, and it doesn't look like really anything's going to develop here, as again, Train is trying to get back in this farming race against Mini, and there's 1v2 on the bot lane.
Train could definitely take advantage of this right now.
Oh, Pyro gets in from behind, perhaps an unexpected route of attack there for the Kindred here. Shmurda going to be very low, is going to get dropped here by Kraken on the Anivia, so it's a 2-for-1 trade though for the dog owners, and dog owners right now again continuing to extend that lead.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Train could definitely kill this Ezreal right now if they played it correctly, because Seraphine isn't with them right now.
Nope, Seraphine not in play at the moment here. Yarb pushing that, Yarb continuing to push that turret. Is going to actually go all the way around into the jungle, and now Kindred is nearby. And it's kind of spooky right now if you're sitting on that top lane in your Magic Otter. And that jungle is also quite scary here if you're sitting in Zip seat. It's not a fun place to be right now when you don't know where that very strong Kindred is. Really, really tough spot right now for Firefight trying to get back into this game.
Yeah, definitely. That Kindred will be strong with already first item Kraken Slayer, same as this. Same as Soli with, forget which item that is. I'm trying to think right now. But they are probably in the lead with the amount of items that they have. 4 players on their team have items. Yes, that's the Rod of Ages that Soli has. Looks like they might get a gank from Maokai now.
Absolutely, there's an opportunity in the bot lane with the Maokai. Kindred, though, is lurking. Train also very low, can't really get involved in any engagements right now. You got to figure Train will head back fairly quick here to pick up some items and try to get back into this. As you do see items start to come out here, the Kindred already first item built, as well as the Soli in the mid lane picking up their first item as well. So Yarb pushing back here also with that Sunfire in hand, pushing aggressively onto Yasuo there, but Yasuo is going to manage to stay afloat. Kraken starting to push this lane out a bit more aggressively against Soli, and here comes the Rift Herald in from Zip, going to push out that mid lane just a little bit more, and they continue to set up here. It's going to be a push in. Didn't really do a whole lot, but I think they had to get it off because I think it was about to expire.
Yeah, it probably was about to expire because I think it's about to spawn in, yeah, about 5 minutes here.
Yeah.
To stay in this game, I feel like they have to get this dragon out, you know? And I feel like this Kindred will try to bait this Malfoy to get it.
And they're just going to back off and let them have this dragon. That's another dragon taken here for dog owners who are very much in control. 2 dragons and a 4-kill lead. Really great spot here for the dog owners up on gold as well. Train, though, still trying to farm against Mini. So Train very much still in this with that Jinx. Very, very powerful. But here we see them getting caught out by Pyro. Pyro on the Kindred is going to get aggressive as the ultimate comes through for Mini as well. The ultimate being used by Vile Raven to try to sneak a kill there, but not able to do so. Pyro able to just sneak out as Vile Raven with that ultimate not able to secure a kill there. Unfortunate for Firefight as they take another kill and will continue to remain in the deficit here.
Yeah, definitely. If I was the Jinx right now, I'd try ulting that Seraphine, but right now, that was a big kill for Kindred. That the Kindred did get the kill, correct?
They did, yes, I believe so. Kindred now at 4 kills. Nice bounty being built up. Oh, catch onto the Kassadin here, being taken low. Zip getting in there very deep with the Maokai, not able to secure the kill, but will allow Anivia to get out of the egg and back into the matchup without losing anything. First turret is taken down here as Train continues to fight with the Ezreal. They will lose that bot lane. And unfortunate take there for Firefight as, again, dog owners remain firmly in control. But there's an objective bounty and another turret taken by Kraken, but it looks like they will pay the price as they get dropped by Pyro, who is now at 5 kills. And again, more action on top lane here. Yarb goes in, but we see a crazy knock onto Zip, bringing them over to Yarb. That was the ultimate, correct? I haven't seen that in play yet.
Yeah, that was indeed the ultimate. Oh, that's a shutdown.
The big shutdown there onto the Cassante from Magic Otter. That is a beautiful response there, but still a long way to go right now for Firefight, as they are very far behind in the gold race and the kill race.
Yeah, definitely. This gold race is not that close, especially for probably the jungler, which is the most significant, and probably the top laner.
We do see a lot of gold in pocket right now for Ezreal, for Mini on the dog owners, so they do have a lot of gold ready to go back and pick up some items, and it looks like we do see them getting ready to do so in addition to Pyro on the Kindred as well. So gold being spent for both those players. That's a lot of we see the we see the Mana Zane as well as that's the Essence Reaver, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is the
Yep.
Essence Reaver.
Essence Reaver in play here, gives bonus damage on hit after using an ability, works really well with Ezreal, and then Kindred with tons of items in pocket as well. That's just a spooky situation for Firefight. I don't know. This is looking a little bit scary for Firefight right now. It kind of starts to feel like it might turn into a bit of a roll.
Yeah, I feel like there is a bunch of potential for Magic Otter to definitely start scaling here. They just need one good kill. If someone could kill the Kindred, though, that would definitely help a lot.
That would be a big start to them getting back in. That nice bounty there would be pretty huge. Cassante going deep in the jungle here, looking to try to maybe close in on Kraken. Kraken in trouble right now. Gonna try to sneak away, but Pyro is there in waiting, and that is not the person you want to see if you are Kraken, and that is another kill for Pyro. Now with 6 kills, this Kindred is getting absolutely fed right now, as it looks like Train still on the farm trying to get online, but Mini, we keep talking about Train trying to get farmed up and trying to get online, but Mini is sitting there. They're almost 40 gold ahead with a bunch of assists in hand, or 40 CS ahead with a bunch of assists in hand too.
Yeah, definitely. Those assists do stack up and help a lot.
They certainly do. We see Yarb getting into it with Magic Otter. Oh, and a late steal there from Zip, taking the kill away from Magic Otter, but that is a nice turn of events there for Firefight now, as they will try to defend out that top lane. And that's a nice little kill there, just kind of stabilize things out with the Cassante going down.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm completely honest, if that Malfoy did not help them at that moment, in that exact moment, they would have died. That
More
was
than likely.
That was a really smart play.
A good dragon there for dog owners, as they now extend that gold lead, extend that overall objective lead pretty significantly right now. They're even on turrets across the board, taking a look at the map, but with those 3 dragons in tow compared to 0 dragons for team against Firefight here, that is a really strong spot for the dog owners, as they'll continue to extend this lead right now.
Yeah, definitely. That they are 1 dragon away from the soul swap. They really do have to start warding a lot, if I'm completely honest. If that's the one thing I've been seeing, it's not a lot of warding. Unless they keep on breaking them, I haven't really seen that much. And that's a Rift Herald going down bot lane.
The Rift Herald now going into the bot lane. Again, the Rift Herald has been good for them when they put it to use, but it's not going to find a kill here as Baron Nashor has spawned and is now in play. So it's a great spot for dog owners to kind of push back here and potentially take that first Baron. As we see again, Kraken is very isolated out and is definitely a target for the entirety of dog owners. They're going to manage to get away. Kindred is just kind of freely invading with absolutely no fear right now.
Yeah, and that is just, that's scary. They have a wit's end right now. They have so much. Oh my, that was a lot of damage for that one ability from that Michael right now.
Really, yes, definitely. Train on the top lane now up against Yarb. So a little bit of a change of pace here, trying to again help Train get the farm going here, trying to catch up to that Ezreal right now. A good opportunity for a Firefight to kind of catch back up here with Train instead of sitting back on that top lane. So a shift in lanes, we're seeing that kind of mid game begin to take shape with Magic Otter now sitting in the middle with Mini.
Yeah, definitely. Mini will probably scale the most on their team, in my opinion, because of how much damage they can just do.
Absolutely. Zipperneck trying to secure that blue buff. I don't know that they did. I think Kindred, oh, they did. They just barely got that blue buff. Kindred did get him in there. That's so scary right now. Kindred is absolutely fed to the gills as they push in onto Magic Otter now diving in aggressively. We see the ultimate come out here, finding the Ezreal, and there's Mini going down there. Magic Otter with a strong engagement, taking them down, closing the gap ahead here. Is Magic Otter kind of coming out ahead right now in that top lane race. We see Zipperneck trying to get in there, maybe look for a gank on the Pyro here. That would be huge and really a momentum shifter if they're able to catch Pyro here. And we see Magic Otter going in deep, trying to get onto Schmurderman first. Solely now back in play, though. We see the split now from the Firefight as they try to escape with their lives, and it looks like they will manage to do so. Interesting engagement there, but a good counter from dog owners.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like they could have probably won that fight if they did play that a little bit smarter. But that is a very good take to that fight. Instead of fighting it out, they just backed off and just went their own ways, I guess.
Absolutely. Now an opportunity for opportunity now is in the hands of dog owners here to continue to apply some pressure onto Firefight. They're going to be pushing that mid lane a little bit harder, it looks like. But again, once again, you know, it has been a pretty strong start here for dog owners. But it is worth noting, if you're looking at the gold discrepancy, it's not that big right now.
Yeah, it really isn't big, if I'm completely honest, with how many kills they have and how much more CS that they have. I thought this would have been a solid 10k difference.
Well, that being said, Kraken does get spotted out. And Kraken has taken, we see Pyro very low, is going to get caught and taken down by Zipperneck, who picks up that huge 650 gold bounty. That's a real a real stabilizing force right there. With that big kill, Zip back up just a little bit closer to that Kindred in the gold race. That did close the gap a little bit on the gold disparity too, but a big kill taking that streak gold as well for onto the Kindred. And if you look at the gold, actually, with that kill, Zip has closed it to less than 1,000 on the gold discrepancy. That's pretty massive.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Otter here could definitely win this fight, this 1v2 fight. This Ezreal and Jinx actually is the farthest gold discrepancy, if I saw it correctly. Dragon will be coming in about 5 minutes, around that.
And it looks like a dragon did just get taken actually here for Firefight, which is a good pickup here. Magic Otter is got 3 in his face. He's going to try to sneak out of there. He's going to still get in and try to engage very aggressively. He's going to get maybe able to sneak up, but they're going to fight again onto Mini. Going to get the kill onto Mini as Magic Otter, and going to get healed up by the Yuumi here. Train now in play as well as Firefight is stabilizing out the matchup here. Suddenly Shmurdaman gets caught out here by Train. Train gonna try to stay aggressive here as the Yuumi now attaches onto them, and they will let Seraphine go, but that is a great fight there for Firefight as they are winning these little team engagements here.
That was an amazing play. If I'm completely honest, I think that K'Sante might have screwed up a little, taking I think that is Magic Otter closer to Mini right now. That was a very big mistake from them. And they kill Baron. Oh my. This might become a reverse game.
Look at the gold suddenly. There was a 5K, over 5K, like 7K deficit not too long ago. But suddenly with that Baron in hand, with that Dragon they just picked up, with that turret they just got, it's suddenly the gold game is even. We got a match again here, guys. This is far from over.
Far from over. And plus, if I'm completely honest, Fire still has bounties. They get another Dragon, 500 gold. They get another, I think that's Baron Nashor, 500 gold. Tower, 2 to 400 gold. Like, there's a bunch of gold play that they could do with a split push here.
No doubt about it. They're really in a good spot. You gotta like what's happening for Firefight here. Still in control, I'd argue, is Dog Owners, but Firefight certainly making it very interesting here. This next fight could be very match defining, depending on how it goes here. Seraphine heading out, Shmurdaman getting out back to spawn here. Try to probably pick up some more wards. We see wards across the map. Bottom jungle very nicely warded up here by Shmurdaman. Top jungle starting to get warded out by Zip and by Valraven here a little bit, trying to get some vision in that top lane. We see Kraken, though, getting caught here and taken down by Soli. So Kraken again killed. But Kraken, they're 1-6. They're not worth a whole lot of gold at this point. So it is worth noting, despite Kraken maybe not having an ideal game right now, he's not really worth a whole lot to be killed.
Yeah, true. I feel like Kraken was severely outmatched, just because of the characters. The characters, she can put up a wall, he can teleport through the wall. She puts, like, he has the ultimate. I forget what his ultimate does.
The teleport through the wall, right?
Yeah. I thought that was an ability.
No, it's the ultimate, but either way, it's still just powerful for the Kassadin. Just at this point, it's just almost impossible for Anivia to really counter a Kassadin. So, but nonetheless, Anivia can get online very strong in the late game, so it is worth watching to see if Kraken is able to turn the tides here a little bit. But we do see the Dragon setup right now. It looks like some staging going on there, some warding taking place here for Magic Otter and Zip in that bottom river, trying to get that very crucial vision that'll help you out on that Dragon. And it looks like there's still also, it's worth noting, Magic Otter still sitting on that Baron buff as well. So lots of damage in tow right now for Magic Otter.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like someone has to go stop Yarb if they kind of want to keep this ongoing momentum. Which like I think that they are sending someone.
Kraken is going to head back, more than likely to stop that top lane push, but it might be a little too late as Yarb has a strong split push going on right now. It's going to be another turret down, the turret edge 5-3 in favor of the Dog Owners here, who have built up a slight gold disparity as well. Shmurdaman very low after that hit from that Maokai. They're very low. They might have to consider heading back here, which would be very rough if they try to build any sort of engagement. Shmurdaman popping a ward over the wall here to get some vision. We see the instant push over onto the boom plant, and that really did not pan out, as immediately Shmurdaman is dropped and Pyro taken completely out of the fight with that ultimate. Yarb coming in now, however. We see this fight initiation on from Zipperneck in with that stun. However, we see this shutdown now onto Magic Otter. Yasuo out of the fight here. Yarb and Soli both taken very low. The Kassadin very low, but here comes K'Sante now trying to get caught out. Gets caught out here by Zipperneck, pushing back in nonetheless. We see Vile Raven on the Yuumi just trying to keep the team afloat here, attached to Maokai, or Zip on the Maokai. Zip's going to try to push back in here, again, just creating havoc, causing problems, doing everything that a Maokai is supposed to do. Yarb taken very low here. Kraken trying to get the damage in, but it's not going to be enough as the rest of the reinforcements come, and that is a team kill for the Dog Owners here, taking, or retaking control of this match.
Wow, and that is their 4th dragon of the game. It's going to be Elder Dragon in about 6 minutes at 31 minutes. Earlier than most games, but still. This game, I wouldn't say it's over, but it looks more in favor to the Dog Owners.
Dog Owners definitely have a position of power compared to the rest of the team there. Taking a look here, now Dog Owners have a opportunity really to just push and kind of end this potentially here, with just a few minutes, or in just a short while. But Pyro is so strong right now as they continue to build up that jungle force. And if you look right now, kind of telling you how dominant this situation is, their whole team is worth a bounty.
Everyone except Seraphine, but
that's true.
But that's the support.
That's the Seraphine. You know, it just happens. That's just Seraphine stuff. You know, no big deal. No big deal. Zip now again trying to get some farm going here. They're trying to stabilize it out here. Trying to get something going here to get back into this matchup, but Dog Owners looking to get this Baron and potentially end it with a Baron push. Firefight pushing back on the Dog Owners here. The fight about to take place in River. This could be the deciding moment here for the matchup as Dog Owners are pushing back on Kraken and Firefight here in this River. Kraken taken very low right now, being forced back out as they try to continue to put some pressure onto the Dog Owners. We see Kraken picking up those health bulbs there. Stay in this fight here as long as they can. We see the engagement in from Yarb on the K'Sante, pushing in. Engagement back in from Maokai right now as Zip gets back in there. Kraken very low, Zip very low as well. We see the ultimate now from Vile Raven popping out that stun, stunning a few, but it doesn't seem to matter. Soli picks up the kill as Yarb still staying in there with that low health pool, but Pyro is on the hunt with that full health pool, gonna start going to work on to Firefight. Zip going aggressive here, trying to get onto Mini. Mini very low, getting caught by Magic Otter, who's going to pick up that kill, try to get back into this here. But here comes Soli now picking up a kill as well, and that Zip taken very low. They will be taken down. Magic Otter fleeing for their life. They're going to have Soli on them. They will get caught and killed, and that is the team kill. And that is more than likely potentially just game. It looks like they're going to push mid. They're skipping Baron. They're just going to end.
Yeah, they could definitely end in time. The Anivia only spawns in 6 seconds, and to be honest, Anivia, I think
I don't think they're worried about the Anivia.
Yeah, the Anivia is level 15. They're all a solid 3 levels probably, 2 levels.
Yeah. Probably. Nonetheless, we sit now at spawn here. Did we get a disconnect randomly there? I'm not really sure. I couldn't really see what exactly happened. But here comes actually, never mind, Ezreal back in play with the ultimate from spawn, but it's not going to matter. There goes the Nexus turrets, and that is looking like just an absolute dominant win for the Dog Owners.
That is a very good game.
Ooh.
It's a very
Maybe?
Maybe? Oh, wait, Magic Otter?
Magic Otter potentially looking to turn it. Oh, but here comes the re-aggression from Soli and Yarb, and that's not going to be, it's going to be too much here. That's it. The Dog Owners finishing it off, securing the 3-0 group stage. Firefight dropping to 1-2. Dog Owners, congratulations on the big win here tonight, moving to 3-0 in this group stage. Fantastic work overall from both teams. However, Dog Owners, you got close there for a minute. A strong start, shaky in the mid game, but just when it boiled down to it, too much strength early on from the Dog Owners to drop this match, and too much for Firefight to be able to handle and push back into this.
Yeah, definitely. This was, out of the 2 games, I feel like this game was probably my favorite one.
Absolutely. It was a fun game to watch. Who stood out to you, by the way, MVP of this match?
I gotta give it to one of the 2 top laners, and that's Magic Otter. Magic Otter just held them in as hard as they could. Even though they didn't win, he was putting in all the work for them and just helping their team almost come back.
Absolutely. It was a great matchup there. Got to give credit to Pyro coming up big, I think, there overall. That was, I believe they had 10 kills when it was all said and done. 10 kills, 1 death. That's pretty strong. Pretty good. It's going to work out really well for you. So congratulations, Dog Owners, and again, also your team from earlier on in this matchup. Next weekend, starting Saturday, we will have the playoffs starting for our League of Legends tournament. And as a reminder, we also have our Valorant tournament signups now open, which will start shortly after this tournament concludes next weekend. Special shout out to Panda on the analyst desk, and obviously Laggy working as our producer tonight. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in here at Tranquility Gaming League of Legends, and we look forward to seeing you again next Saturday. Thank you very much and have a great night.